Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today is another Cheap Wine Wednesday. I'm really excited for today's because I've heard some good things about this wine, about the packaging. So let's just go over the 4 things that we do cover. We go over packaging, pricing, ABV, and then of course taste, because some people would say that's the most important thing. Not me. So let's get right into it. This one is called, or it's by 19 Crimes. It's their Cabernet Sauvignon, and it looks like this guy was convicted of being a grave robber. So we'll get right into packaging. As far as packaging goes, it's really cool because if you do have a Snapchat and you record this bottle, it will talk to you and it's interactive. So I thought that was really cool. Typically I wouldn't go for a wine with a man from what looks to be the 1920s and a criminal, but I thought it was cool that it's interactive and it's kind of, you know, different. Let's read what it has to say in the back. 19 crimes turn criminals into colonists. Upon conviction, British rogues guilty of at least one of the 19 crimes were sentenced to live in Australia rather than death. This punishment by transportation began in 1788, and many of the lawless died at sea. For the rough-hewn prisoners who made it to shore, a new world awaited. As pioneers in a frontier penal colony, they forged a new country and new lives brick by brick. This wine celebrates the rules they broke and the culture they built. Now, I like it and I don't like it. I'm not going to get too crazy, but Australians treat their Aborigine people like shit. So that's not good. But what's really cool is I love history, and I really like that. I get it now. So the 19 crimes, it only can be one of the 19 crimes. Like, every character has to be one. And so that's awesome. I like the tie. I like that it's an Australian wine and it's brought in Australian history, even if it is not the prettiest history. Now on the cork, it does have, you're not going to be able to see this because I don't know how to zoom, but it has 16. So number 16 is stealing a shroud out of a grave. So you could be sent to Australia from Britain for stealing a shroud. Is like a cover, but I'm assuming it's just grave robbing. So this guy robbed a grave, which is kind of sick. Ugh. Naughty boy. Alright, so I mean, with the history, I would actually bump that up to an 8 out of a 10 because your girl loves history, okay? Now, pricing is great. It is only $9.67. So we're still under $10. I think it was with tax like $10.38, but that's fine. It was fine. And the ABV is, let's find that, 13.5. So this one's gonna be packing. So hopefully the taste goes with everything because I'm liking everything so far. So we're gonna cork that open. Ooh. My trusty wine glass and pour. And remember, we don't skimp out on the pours. It's gonna be a big girl pour. Keep going and going. I think. All right. Okay. So I feel like it's very hard to go wrong with a Cabernet just because it's such a basic, it's just a basic freaking wine. Like, it's just, everyone likes Cabernet. Like, who doesn't like it? So hopefully it's here to please. Let's drink some. I like it. It's not bad. It smells really good. See, what's different about that bottle is that normally in your descriptors, it kind of tells you, like the descriptions on the back, what kind of notes you're going to taste in the wine, but it really doesn't tell you on this. You know, I'm not a sommelier. Yeah, I'm not, clearly not a sommelier. I can't even say it. So, I mean, I couldn't tell you, like, exactly what notes I'm tasting, but it tastes good. I'd buy it again. Yeah, that is strange, because normally on the back it's going to tell you, like, what you should expect from the wine, and rather it sold you just on the history. But I guess it works, because it's kind of sold me, right? Yeah, let's take another taste. Yeah, this is one of my favorite wines I've tasted so far on the series. Actually, I think it is my favorite. It's really good. And it just smells so yummy too. Like, what's going on? I think I found a new favorite. Alright, so while I'm enjoying this delicious, probably 9 out of 10 glass of wine, yes, I would rate this 9 out of 10, so definitely go out and buy it. Play with it on Snapchat. I couldn't show it on camera because I actually am just too challenged to figure out how to do it, but it's definitely worth a buy. And you know what? I'm sure that they have a bunch of different tastes, so just buy it for the history, for the culture. But I'm going to tell you about my wonderful Memorial Day weekend, because that just passed. I say wonderful, and do I mean it? I don't know. I had a great weekend. I traveled to Minnesota, which was nice. It was a friend's wedding. It was beautiful. I had an amazing time. But I lost my license. And that just created a whole debacle that I'm about to tell you about right now. So, Minnesota is not the state that I live in. It's a few states over. And I lost my license, and I did not drive to Minnesota. I flew. So, after a day of looking at every bar, every street corner that I crossed the night before, no license at all. I don't know how I lost it, because everything else in my bag was still there, but not the most important item to get me out of Minnesota back to where I live so I can go to work on Tuesday was missing. So my boyfriend calls the airport, and apparently you can fly without an ID. So that's great news. And I'm just like, oh my god, so thankful. My flight was at 6:30. We had to arrive at 3:30 in the morning. After I'd flown in just to be there for 2 days, and I had barely gotten any sleep on that Friday, flew in Friday, got there at 1 a.m. on Friday, went to a wedding, partied all night, woke up, did not take any naps, and then woke up again. It just was a shit show. I was so tired. But we got there at 3:30. They asked me some background questions. Like, the TSA guy made me nervous. He's like, we're gonna ask you a series of questions, and you can't be prompted. You can't look up the answers. And I'm like, oh my god, like, did I have to study for this? But then they were easy. It was like, what make and model is your car? And I was like, oh shit, I'm glad I know that, because, I mean, it wouldn't surprise myself if myself didn't know that, because I don't know anything about really my car. But anyway, so just car, and where you live, and where did you live, and it was fine. But upon getting into like the TSA thing, I had to be patted down, like an extensive search, and all of my baggage had to be searched extensively, which I totally got, but I wasn't prepared for it. I was wearing a dress, and my groin was patted down quite a few times by some female, like 2 different female TSA agents, and I was like, oh, alright, probably should have worn pants. What was I thinking? It was too early, I guess. But then I'm like, okay, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen while traveling. You've done it. You've made the cardinal, or you've broken the cardinal rule of traveling. So I'm like, this is gonna be smooth sailing, I thought. Okay, so I flew from Minnesota to a connecting airport, and I surprisingly got on the plane to where I live so quickly. I thought it was going to take much longer. They were ready to go. And I should have known if they were rushing us to get onto the plane that there was a reason they were rushing us. I didn't even get to go to my favorite restaurant that sells like these really hot wasabi tuna seaweed salad, and normally I go there when I get to this airport, but I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are already boarding. Okay, fine. So we leave before even our scheduled time, and yeah, it was because the weather sucked in my hometown. It's only like a 40-minute flight from where my connecting airport flight was, and it took us only 45 minutes, and the turbulence was insane. Like, I thought I perhaps was going to die on that plane ride. Like, it was so hard, shaking, like people were shaking. A baby was crying, and I was just like, wow. Like, do I turn my cell phone on and text my family goodbye now? Like, I was truly shook. Literally and truly shook. But really what was happening is just that we couldn't land. There was no visibility. The pilot could not see the landing strip or the airport or anything at all. So we kind of just were flying in the air for a little bit. He tried to land again, and he just couldn't. So he said he was going to divert the plane, which I didn't know what that meant, but we just flew back. We flew to a different airport that was like way out of the way, so I don't understand that. But yeah, we sat on that plane for an hour, figuring out whether we were going to fly back to the original airport or if we were going to get flown to the first connect. It was just crazy. So we sit on the plane for an hour. Then we sit in the airport for an hour while they try to get us buses home, which is home is 3 hours away at this point. And then like, oh, we're going to get you a taxi home. So we wait another hour for the taxis. They give out every taxi cab a voucher for the plane, like for all the passengers of the plane, except for my cab. And my cab driver was not having, he's like, I'm not taking you anywhere, you need a voucher. And 4 of us, I didn't even know these people, it was 4 of us, including me, were like, okay, well, I'm not paying $300 for a taxi ride. So one of the people in the cab ran in, took him about an hour and a half to nail someone down to get us a voucher for a taxi. So it's another freaking hour and a half just sitting, and I was just like, wow, this is really my life. So I finally got home at 6 p.m. and I was supposed to be home at noon, and I ate dinner, walked my dogs, woke up at 4 a.m. and went to work, and it was pretty bad, and I did not have the best spent Memorial Day weekend. So yeah, that's my story. Now I know it's not the same as like an embarrassing story, but I just needed to share it. I needed to get that off my chest. It was just quite a day, a night day. Well, thank you guys for bearing with me to this point and listening to me babble on. Give this video a thumbs up if you would like to see more cheap wine reviews. Definitely leave comments below if you have suggestions for cheap wines I should try. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in my next video.